Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, Carl Jung's term for the adult whose emotional life never left adolescence, and the case his student Marie-Louise von Franz spent a career documenting. At the center of her portrait sits one idea, the provisional life. The Puer never experiences his present as his actual life. Real life, the one that will finally fit, is always about to begin. Von Franz found him everywhere she looked. These 6 films found him too. The first one is the boy the whole syndrome was named after.
You must make yourself remember.
Remember what?
Peter, don't you know who you are?
Hook, 1991. Peter Pan grew up. He became a mergers and acquisitions lawyer, and now he's afraid of flying. That's the premise of Spielberg's Hook. Peter Banning has no memory of ever being Pan until Captain Hook kidnaps his children and drags him back to Neverland. And the amnesia is the point. Banning didn't integrate the boy. He cut him off so completely that an entire world had to go with him. Jung's school calls the opposite pole the senex, the old king, structure, schedule, caution. Von Franz's warning was that the 2 poles travel together. The Puer who represses the boy doesn't mature. He swings to the negative senex. And watch what the swing preserves. Banning takes a call in the middle of his daughter's school play. He promises his son the big game. My word is my bond. And then misses it anyway and sends a man from the office to film it. Attendance, outsourced. The same broken promises Pan would have made. Only the alibi is now work instead of adventure. The children still pay. Neverland literalizes the bill. Hook wins Jack over, not with magic, but with presence. He stages a baseball game for Peter's son and plays the father Peter never was. And the neglected boy starts choosing the villain. To take his children back, Banning has to fly again. And the film is exact about the mechanics. The happy thought that finally lifts him is fatherhood. He grew up, he realizes, mid-air because he wanted to be a father. Pure flight, powered by senex commitment. Most men who kill the boy simply call it growing up.
Give me that toy, man. No, now. Hey, this is a place of business, not a place of jelly man toys.
Get off it!
No, I'm taking it.
You can't just take my stuff! It's mine! Give it to me!
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, 2013. Walter Mitty has a rich life. The problem is where he keeps it. In Ben Stiller's film, Walter has spent 16 years in the basement of Life magazine managing the photo negatives of Sean O'Connell, a globe-trotting photojournalist whose existence contains everything Walter's lacks. The job description reads like a case note. He keeps the record of a fully lived life in a drawer, in latent form, undeveloped. So does his psyche. At 17, within days of his father's death, Walter shaved off his mohawk and took a job at a pizza chain. The backpack he'd bought for the trip he was planning stayed unused. The travel journal his father gave him, inscribed "Have Fun, Dad," stayed blank. That boy resurfaces in the zone outs, elaborate daydreams where Walter saves dogs from explosions, silences his boss, wins his co-worker Cheryl in a single gesture. And notice what the fantasies always skip: the middle. No training, no risk, no failed attempts. The Puer signature. Greatness without the mediocre years that build it. Von Franz saw the function clearly. Fantasy works as a pressure valve, each imagined heroism discharging exactly the tension that would otherwise force the real life to move. The dream stays grand, so the day can stay small. It looks like harmless drift, and everybody drifts. The question is only what the drifting replaces. Walter's dating profile has its been there, done that field sitting empty. Then negative 25 goes missing. The frame Sean calls the quintessence of life. and the search drags Walter through Greenland, a volcano, the Himalayas. The more he lives, the less he dreams. The fantasies are never defeated. They simply lose their job. And when the missing photograph finally surfaces on the magazine's last cover, it shows Walter himself, sitting outside the Life building, studying a contact sheet absorbed in his ordinary work. The man who had been everywhere aimed his lens at the one thing the daydreamer never valued, an ordinary day, fully attended.
Okay. Hey, look, I'm happy for the gig, but who wrote this?
I did.
Okay.
Inside Llewyn Davis, 2013. Llewyn Davis is genuinely talented. The film never disputes it, and that's the trap. In the Coens' portrait of the 1961 Greenwich Village folk scene, Llewyn is a gifted singer whose solo record isn't selling and whose duo ended when his partner killed himself. He drifts couch to couch with a guitar, a box of unsold albums, someone else's cat. When Jean, pregnant, possibly by him, asks whether he ever thinks about the future, he answers, "You mean like flying cars?" Planning ahead in his vocabulary is careerist square. Von Franz's gifted Puer runs on exactly this arithmetic. The talent is real, therefore the ordinary path is an insult. And since every actual career is built out of ordinary Tuesdays, rehearsals, compromises, other people's schedules, refusing the ordinary quietly becomes refusing the career itself. Jean sees it whole. You don't even want to get anywhere. His answer, I wanna, dies in his mouth, because naming the ambition would put the talent on trial. Purism is the Puer's most flattering disguise. It lets him file surrender under integrity, and the film prices the disguise to the dollar. Hired for a novelty session, Llewyn takes $200 in cash and signs away the royalties on the one recording around him built to actually sell. The Coens score the cost in geometry. Llewyn is forever in transit. Subways, highways, a freezing drive to Chicago, and never anywhere new. When he finally tries to quit, to follow his father back into the merchant marine, the lifelong sailor now sitting silent in a nursing home, even surrender fails. He spends his last $148 on back dues, then learns his seaman's license went out with a box of belongings he himself told his sister to toss. The refusal was thorough enough to sabotage its own exit months in advance. The film opens and closes in the same alley behind the same club, Llewyn taking the same beating, while inside a kid from Minnesota takes the stage. The world moved, he orbited, circling the decision he isn't making.
Jay, you can't repeat the past.
Can't repeat the past.
No.
Why, of course you can. Of course you can.
The Great Gatsby, 2013. You can't repeat the past, Nick warns him. The reply arrives with genuine astonishment. Why, of course you can. The astonishment is the diagnosis. Begin where he begins. A poor young man named James Gatz decides that his actual origin is a clerical error, drafts an ideal self, the name, the manner, the biography, and enlists in its service for life. Von Franz knew this exact move. The Puer does not grow out of his circumstances. He authors a grander self above them and treats the authored version as the real one. Everything in Luhrmann's film is downstream of that act. Gatsby runs the provisional life with the arrow reversed. His real life sits 5 years back, one autumn with Daisy, and the entire spectacular present is scaffolding aimed at it. The mansion facing her dock across the bay, the parties thrown for a single guest who never comes, the shirts and cars as props for a scene he intends to reshoot. And Daisy herself is the reversal's cruelest casualty, because what he loves is not the woman, but the projection parked on her. Von Franz warned that the Puer's beloved is carried by an inner image no mortal woman can hold. The disappointment is built into the mechanism. Fitzgerald wrote the same clinical note from the other side. When Daisy falls short, it is through no fault of her own. The illusion has grown past her, past everything. He needs her to unsay 5 years, to tell her husband she never loved him, so the record can be wiped and time restarted from the frame where the ideal self last worked. Von Franz marked where this road ends. The Puer carries a quiet romance with death, the one exit that keeps the dream from ever being tested by ordinary time. The film grants Gatsby exactly that mercy and exactly that sentence. He is in his pool, waiting for Daisy's call, when the phone finally rings, and he is rising toward it, certain it is her. When the past he tampered with arrives with a gun, he dies mid-hope, spared the disappointment, sealed inside it. The green light was never Daisy, it was the heading itself, a man rowing hard toward a point that recedes exactly as fast as he approaches. Beau Is Afraid, 2023. A warning before this one, we spoil everything, ending included. With this film, there is no other way. The ending is the diagnosis. Ari Aster's 3-hour anxiety epic follows Beau Wasserman, a middle-aged man attempting one simple act, visiting his mother, across a world that will not permit it. Every frame outside his apartment is lethal. The street is a carnival of knives, overdoses, collapsing strangers. It plays as surreal comedy until you accept the film's grammar. We are not watching the world. We are watching Beau's nervous system. And the root of that nervous system sits exactly where von Franz said to look. Behind the pure Aeternus, she wrote, stands a mother complex. The son's life force mortgaged to the woman who gave it. Beau's mortgage is total. His mother, Mona, raised him on the story that his father died at the moment of his conception, a hereditary heart defect triggered by climax. The lie installs a perfect lock. Desire itself becomes lethal. Adulthood welded shut by a bedtime story. He reaches middle age a virgin, and when he finally, once, survives the act he was promised would kill him, his partner dies instead. The curse doesn't break. It re-aims. Then the film widens the lens. The products in Beau's life carry his mother's corporate logo. His therapist reports his sessions to her. When she fakes her death to test his love, the headless body is staged in her own house. There is no world outside the mother. There never was. The trial that ends the film says it plainly. Beau in a tiny boat on dark water, inside an arena of spectators, while his mother and her lawyer prosecute a lifetime's failures of gratitude, the evidence playing on a giant screen overhead. The verdict predates the trial. The motor explodes, the boat overturns, and the crowd files toward the exits while it drifts. Aster has built the negative mother complex from the inside, a psyche where love arrives pre-invoiced, guilt is the only currency, and this Puer never refuses to grow up, because refusing would require a self that was never permitted to form.
Well? Don't well me about it, for Christ's sake. He comes around uninvited every night of the week, and do you know why? Because he's having the shit bullied out of him at school. And you haven't got a clue. You're sending him out there like a lamb to the slaughter. He's been taken to pieces every day of the week, you daft fucking hippie.
About a Boy, 2002. Will Freeman divides his day into units of 30 minutes. A bath is 1 unit, a quiz show, 1, web research, 2, getting his hair carefully disheveled, 4. The system is bookkeeping for a psychological problem. Time without weight doesn't pass on its own. Will is 30-something, has never worked a day. He genuinely wonders how employed people find the time. and lives off the royalties of one novelty Christmas song his father wrote. Von Franz's provisional life usually disguises itself as a future. Will has dropped even the disguise. Nothing is about to begin. His philosophy opens the film. All men are islands, and his has cable. And his relationship to other lives is a viewer's. Life, he explains, is a television show, and the Will Show was never an ensemble drama. Guests come and go. He is the only regular, watching from the sofa lives that contain the one thing his lacks, somebody who can't be written out. His single innovation is counterfeit commitment. Will invents a 2-year-old son and joins a single parents group, having noticed that fatherhood functions as credit history. A man holding a child reads as a man who stays, which makes him irresistible to women he intends to leave. It's the Puer's relationship to all substance. He doesn't want the weight, he wants the signal, and the signal only trades because other men, somewhere, are carrying the actual weight. The film's answer to von Franz's oldest question, how does this ever end, is uncomfortably honest, not by choice. The will to commit is precisely the broken part. No Puer bootstraps himself out. What happens instead is a claim. Marcus, 12, odd, bullied, attaches himself to Will after his depressed mother's suicide attempt, and the boy's logic is cold survival arithmetic. If she tries again, he needs a backup adult, and the only adult with unlimited free time is the man who arranged to have nothing asked of him. The exit, when it comes, is priced in Will's own currency. At a school talent show, to stand beside a boy about to be laughed at, Will walks on stage with a guitar and absorbs the humiliation with him. Cool, the one asset he ever accumulated, spent in a single transaction on someone else's behalf. The first unit of his life, not passed, but paid. By the final scene, his own voiceover amends the thesis. He stands by the island theory, but some men, it turns out, are island chains, connected underneath. The Will Show has become an ensemble drama. Von Franz's prescription for the eternal boy was almost insultingly ordinary. Work. Pick something real and stay with it past the point where it stops being interesting. She meant a craft, a duty, a person, anything with weight. 6 films, and every one of them ends at the same door, whether or not the man walks through. The life that finally fits is the one that gets your full weight. The ordinary, unfinished, already running life that was there the whole time. Thank you for watching.